Ladies and gentlemen, listen. There comes a time in life when you got to stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop trying to fix what ain't yours to fix and start focusing on the one person who really needs your attention. As you get older, one of the most important things you can do is shift your focus inward and start prioritizing yourself. For most of your life, you've likely been taking care of other people. Your kids, your spouse, your friends, your job, your responsibilities. You spent years making sure everyone else is okay, often putting yourself last. But there comes a point where you have to stop, take a deep breath, and realize that you deserve the same love, care, and attention that you've been giving to everyone else. Prioritizing yourself doesn't mean neglecting others. It doesn't mean you stop loving your family or caring about your friends. What it does mean is that you stop sacrificing your own well-being just to make others comfortable. It means recognizing that your time, your energy, and your peace are valuable. You don't owe anybody every piece of yourself. You don't have to be available 24/7, always putting other people's needs above your own. It starts with setting boundaries. A lot of people struggle with this because they spent their entire lives saying yes to everyone. They've been the go-to person, the problem solver, the one who always picks up the phone. But if you keep saying yes to everything, you'll run yourself dry. You have to start saying no sometimes and not feeling guilty about it. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to justify why you need rest, why you don't feel like going out, or why you don't want to entertain negativity. Your health is another area where you have to put yourself first. As you get older, your body starts speaking to you in ways it never did before. That little ache in your back, that stiffness in your knees, that fatigue that wasn't there 10 years ago, it's all a reminder that you have to take care of yourself. You can't keep putting off doctor visits, ignoring what your body is telling you, or acting like you're still in your 20s. It's time to eat better, move more, rest properly, and make sure you're doing everything you can to stay strong. Your mental and emotional well-being also need your attention. You've spent years worrying about everybody else's feelings, making sure nobody is upset, keeping the peace, and carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. But what about you? How often have you checked in on yourself? How many times have you ignored your own feelings just to keep somebody else happy? That has to stop. You have to allow yourself to feel, to process, to let go of whatever has been weighing you down. Holding on to stress, anger, and unresolved emotions does nothing but steal your peace. Another part of prioritizing yourself is making time for the things that truly bring you joy. When was the last time you did something just because it made you happy? Not because it was expected of you, not because it benefited someone else, but simply because it filled your soul. It could be traveling, picking up an old hobby, sitting in silence with a good book, or just enjoying your own company. You don't need permission to enjoy your life. You don't need to wait for the right moment. That moment is now. You also have to stop feeling responsible for fixing other people. You are not here to solve everyone's problems. You are not here to carry the weight of other people's mistakes, decisions, or emotions. It's okay to care, but you can't do the work for them. You can't keep draining yourself for people who refuse to help themselves. Some people only call you when they need something, and the moment you stop giving, they disappear. Let them. Your worth is not determined by how much you do for others. Surround yourself with people who pour into you just as much as you pour into them. If you are always the one giving, always the one helping, always the one adjusting, and never receiving that same energy back, you need to reevaluate who you allow in your space. The right people will respect your time, your boundaries, and your need for peace. You shouldn't have to explain to someone why you need to put yourself first. Silence is one of the most powerful things you can embrace as you get older. When you're young, you feel the need to explain yourself, to defend your choices, to make sure people understand you. You get caught up in arguments, debates, and unnecessary conversations that drain your energy. But with time, you start realizing that not everything needs a response. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to correct every wrong assumption or make sure people see things your way. Silence is a choice, and it's a powerful one. People will always have something to say. They'll talk about you whether you're doing good or bad. They'll misunderstand you, twist your words, and sometimes even create their own version of your life. But the beauty of silence is that it allows you to rise above all of it. You don't have to chase after rumors. You don't have to engage in petty drama. You don't have to explain why you live the way you do. Let people think what they want. Your silence speaks louder than any explanation ever could. There's peace in silence. When you stop talking so much, you start listening more, not just to others, but to yourself. You hear your own thoughts clearly. You recognize what truly matters. You become more intentional with your words because you're no longer speaking just to be heard. You're speaking when it actually serves a purpose. A lot of people talk just to fill space, just to prove a point, or just to hear their own voice. But when you understand the value of silence, you realize that most things don't even need to be said. Silence also keeps you in control. When you react to everything, you give other people power over you. They know exactly how to push your buttons, exactly what to say to get a reaction out of you. But when you stay silent, they lose that control. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know how you feel. And that's a position of strength. Not everyone deserves access to your thoughts, your emotions, or your time. Choosing silence means choosing yourself. There's also wisdom in silence. The most successful people, the most respected people, the most intelligent people, they all understand the value of keeping quiet. They observe, they listen. They take in information before they speak. They don't waste words on things that don't matter. They don't argue over things that won't change. They don't feel the need to prove their intelligence in every conversation. They know that silence often carries more weight than words ever could. Silence protects your peace. When you engage in unnecessary conversations, when you allow yourself to be pulled into every argument, when you let people drag you into their drama, you're giving away pieces of your peace. But when you stay silent, you keep that peace intact. You don't allow negativity to enter your space. You don't allow people to disrupt your energy. You simply remove yourself from anything that doesn't serve you. Not everything deserves a response. Not every opinion about you needs to be addressed. Not every person who challenges you deserves your energy. There's strength in knowing when to speak and when to remain silent. Some people argue just to argue. Some people criticize just to bring you down. Some people want to see you react so they can feel powerful. But when you choose silence, you take away their power. You show them that you are not easily moved, that your peace is more valuable than their drama, that you are not controlled by words or opinions. There's a time to speak and a time to be silent. As you get older, you realize that silence often serves you more than words ever will. It allows you to think clearly, to move wisely, and to protect yourself from unnecessary stress. The less you react, the more peace you have. The less you explain, the more control you keep. The less you argue, the more powerful you become. Choosing peace over drama is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself as you get older. There was a time when you might have entertained negativity, engaged in unnecessary conflicts, or allowed toxic people to take up space in your life. But as you grow, you begin to realize that not everything requires your attention, not every battle needs to be fought, and not every relationship deserves your energy. Peace is something you have to protect because without it, your life will always feel chaotic and exhausting. Drama thrives on reaction. It exists because people feed into it, entertain it, and keep it alive with their words and emotions. But when you refuse to engage, when you remove yourself from situations that don't serve you, the drama loses its power. People who love chaos will try to pull you into their world. They'll provoke you, gossip about you, or try to drag you into their conflicts. But when you choose peace, you understand that their behavior is a reflection of them, not you. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to prove yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Protecting your peace means setting boundaries. You have to be intentional about who and what you allow into your space. Some people bring nothing but negativity, and it's not your job to fix them. It's not your responsibility to carry their burdens or absorb their toxic energy. You can love people from a distance. You can care about someone without allowing their chaos to disrupt your life. Walking away from toxic relationships, whether they're friendships, family, or colleagues, is not selfish. It's necessary. Your energy is precious, and you have to be mindful of where you spend it. If something drains you more than it fulfills you, it's time to let it go. If being around certain people leaves you feeling exhausted, anxious, or frustrated, that's a sign that they are disrupting your peace. Pay attention to how you feel after interacting with someone. The people in your life should uplift you, support you, and bring you joy. If they bring the opposite, then they don't deserve learning how to walk away from unnecessary conversations. Not everything needs a response. Not every opinion about you deserves your time. Some people argue just to argue, not because they want resolution, but because they thrive on conflict. Engaging with them only drains your energy. When you learn to walk away, you take back control. You don't have to explain yourself to people who are determined to see things their way. You don't have to justify your choices to people who have no interest in understanding you. Another part of choosing peace is letting go of the past. Holding on to grudges, reliving old wounds, and carrying resentment only keeps you tied to negativity. Forgiveness isn't about excusing what happened. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of it. You don't have to hold on to anger to prove a point. You don't have to stay bitter to show that you were hurt. Letting go doesn't mean you forget. It means you refuse to let the past control your present. Your time is valuable and your happiness matters. Life is too short to be caught up in unnecessary drama. You weren't put on this earth to constantly defend yourself, to argue with people who don't matter, or to fix problems that aren't yours to fix. When you choose peace, you choose yourself. You choose a life that is filled with clarity, joy, and purpose. You create an environment where you can grow, heal, and enjoy life without unnecessary distraction. When you stop chasing validation from others, you start truly living. For most of your life, you've been conditioned to seek approval. From childhood, you're taught to meet expectations, follow certain paths, and live in a way that pleases others. You worry about what people will think, how they will judge you, and whether your choices align with their opinions. But as you grow older, you begin to understand that no matter what you do, someone will always have something to say. The moment you stop caring about their validation is the moment you begin to experience real freedom. Freedom comes from living on your own terms. It means waking up each day and making choices that make you happy, not choices designed to impress others. Too many people spend their entire lives trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for them. They choose careers they don't love, stay in relationships that don't fulfill them, and live by rules that don't align with their true desires. All because they are afraid of judgment. But what happens when you stop seeking approval? You start doing what makes your soul happy. You make decisions that feel right to you, not what society tells you is right. People's opinions change constantly. One day they admire you, the next day they criticize you. If you live your life based on their approval, you will forever be chasing something that isn't real. No matter how much you try to please people, someone will always find a reason to disapprove. The clothes you wear, the way you speak, the choices you make. There will always be someone who thinks you should be doing it differently. When you let go of that need for validation, you take back control. You no longer base your self-worth on what others think. The truth is, most people are too focused on their own lives to think about yours, as much as you believe they do. Everyone has their own problems, their own struggles, and their own insecurities. They may offer opinions, but they are not living your life. You are the only one who knows what is best for you. You are the only one who truly understands what makes you happy, what fulfills you, and what path feels right. The more you trust yourself, the less you will feel the need to ask for permission or approval. When you stop chasing validation, you also start attracting the right people. Those who only liked you when you fit into their expectations will drift away, but the people who truly love and respect you will remain. These are the people who support you, who celebrate you for who you are, and who don't need you to change in order to accept you. Surrounding yourself with people who encourage your authenticity is one of the most powerful things you can do. You no longer have to pretend to shrink yourself or to be anything other than exactly who you are. Letting go of validation also means embracing your individuality. You stop comparing your life to others. You stop feeling like you have to meet some imaginary standard of success or happiness. You realize that your journey is your own, and it doesn't have to look like anyone else's. Some people find happiness in traditional paths, while others carve out their own unique way of living. Neither is right or wrong. It's about what feels fulfilling to you. The moment you embrace your uniqueness, you experience a sense of confidence and clarity that no external validation could ever give you. Life becomes lighter when you stop worrying about approval. You no longer carry the burden of trying to please everyone. You stop second-guessing yourself, overthinking every decision, or feeling the need to explain your choices. You move with confidence, knowing that your happiness does not depend on anyone else's opinion. You trust your instincts, follow your heart, and embrace the freedom that comes with living unapologetically. As you get older, you start to realize that most arguments are just wasted energy. When you're young, you feel the need to prove your point, to make people understand you, to defend yourself at every turn. You think that if you just explain things the right way, people will finally see your perspective. But the truth is, some people are committed to misunderstanding you. Some people argue just to argue. They don't care about resolution. They just want to keep stirring the pot. And the moment you understand that, you free yourself from the need to engage in every battle that comes your way. Peace is more valuable than being right. When you constantly argue, you exhaust yourself emotionally. You carry frustration, anger, and stress that do nothing but weigh you down. Your mind becomes consumed with replaying conversations, thinking about what you should have said, or preparing for the next debate. But when you decide to let things go, when you choose not to respond, When you walk away instead of engaging, you protect your energy. You create space for peace, for clarity, for real happiness that isn't tied to proving anything to anyone. Not every opinion deserves a response. People will always have something to say about your life, your choices, and your decisions. They will judge you based on their own experiences, their own beliefs, and sometimes their own insecurities. But their opinions do not define you. You don't have to justify yourself to anyone. You don't have to argue to make people understand. You don't have to waste your time trying to convince someone who has already made up their mind about you. The moment you stop responding to negativity, you take away its power over you. Some arguments don't even come from a place of truth. They come from a place of emotion. People argue because they are angry, because they feel insecure, because they want control. And if you allow yourself to be pulled into that energy, you become part of the chaos. You start responding out of frustration instead of wisdom. You say things you don't mean. You get caught up in emotions that don't serve you. But when you learn to walk away, when you learn to remain silent in the face of nonsense, you rise above the chaos. You show strength in your restraint. Walking away from an argument doesn't mean you're weak. It means you're wise. It means you understand that your energy is too valuable to be wasted on people who aren't interested in growth or understanding. It means you've reached a place in life where your peace matters more than your pride. People who love to argue will try to pull you in. They'll say things just to get a reaction. They'll push your buttons to see how far they can take you. But the moment you stop engaging, they lose their power. They realize they can't control your emotions. They see that you are no longer playing their game. There's strength in choosing silence over conflict. There's power in knowing that you don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. Not everything requires a response. Not everything is worth your energy. When you stop engaging in unnecessary battles, you gain control over your life in a way that most people never will. You learn to let things go. You learn to protect your peace. You learn that real strength isn't in how loud you argue, but in how silent you can be in the face of nonsense. Living for yourself instead of seeking approval from others is one of the most liberating things you can do as you grow older. For most of your life, you've been conditioned to care about what people think. From a young age, you're taught to be polite, to fit in, to do things that will make others proud of you. You seek validation from parents, teachers, friends, co-workers, and society as a whole. But as time goes on, you start to realize that no matter how much you do, no matter how hard you try, you will never please everyone. And the sooner you let go of that need, the sooner you will truly start living. People will always have opinions. They will judge you based on what you wear, what you do, how you speak, where you live, and even how you think. Some will criticize you no matter what choice you make. If you live one way, they'll say you should be doing something different. If you make a decision for yourself, they'll question it. But the truth is, most people who judge you are dealing with their own insecurities. Their opinions often have nothing to do with you and everything to do with their own fears, regrets, and limitations. Once you understand that, you stop letting their words dictate your actions. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you choose to live your life. If something makes you happy, that is reason enough. If you want to travel, start a new hobby, change careers, or live in a way that brings you peace, you don't need permission. Too many people waste their lives trying to fit into a mold that was never meant for them. They suppress their dreams, silence their desires, and live according to expectations that don't align with who they truly are. But the moment you stop chasing approval, you start discovering what really